people's blood or satisfy the bloodlust somehow. But he never really had to, and that was a really odd topic. He sometimes used a formula, but it was really odd.
Yes, I
Anything to
agree.
add?
Well, I guess that, yeah.
Is that it, Vance?
Okay, so the next one I'm going to review is The Superior Spider-Man Age of Ultron tie-in, number 6. This is a really good issue. It deals with Doc Ock, Peter, and him trying to assist Tony Stark with the Ultrons and trying to fight them. Shows the Avengers team, but I mean, the main concepts from this issue are that all heck has gone loose and Ultrons are destroying the city of New York. Do you have anything to add to this, Chris?
Yeah, I felt the issue was really showed how Doc Ock is really a megalomaniac, how he's really egomaniac, and how he likes to be in control of everything. He actually tries to take over Ultron's robots with his own technology,
Yes.
and rather than relying on Tony Stark's plan to destroy
And
the
Stark
Ultrons,
Industries technologies.
which really showed how he was only confident in himself and thought he could create a utopian society, even though it backfired miserably and ended up killing multiple innocent people.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
costing their only chance at freedom.
I agree. I mean, he didn't trust Tony Stark. He wanted to use his own tech, but that kind of shows how self-centered this new Doc Ock Peter Parker is. So, good issue. I mean, anything to add?
Not really.
Okay.
Alright, the next issue I'm going to be reviewing is Fantastic Four number 175. Now, this issue is sort of controversial because of the cover. Now, it said the High Evolutionary versus Galactus. And now, it says in Fantastic Four talking, saying we must break free. We must. If we don't, those two will destroy each other and take the world with them. This cover was meant to was sort of controversial because Marvel argued that it said that world could mean any world, where most people bought this because they thought it meant Earth, whereas it actually meant counter-Earth.
I think that just from a general audience, I mean, not like people who go to the comic book shop, pick up comics each week, people who are just going to see this, maybe at a convenience store or something, are going to think it means Earth, and either A, just look at it and go like, eh, or they're going to buy it because they think it's going to be interesting, and I think those speech bubbles on the cover really helps, back then, lure people in, but today, we don't really need that to lure people in. We have readers that are dedicated to the series that they read, and I mean, going off of what Chris said about the covers and how it was misleading, Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, a lot of those covers are misleading. I mean, just look at them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with France. I mean, the covers were really a big issue back then because they tended to mislead or bring into false.
Yeah. The next book that I'm going to review is Age of Ultron number 1, book 1. Okay, so, it's been a while since I've read this one, actually, so.
Okay. I'll help with answers for sort of reviewing. Okay, so what happened was it was supposed to introduce the Age of Ultron.
Yes, and which it did, but I mean, I wouldn't say it was the most easiest way to introduce it.
Well, it sort of comes in where we're halfway through how Ultron's taking over the world, and he's made deals with certain gangsters that they can stay alive and being wiped out with the rest of humanity as long as they are able to supply people with certain things. And this issue was a big thing because most of the issues were centered around certain superheroes, and this one was centered around Hawkeye rescuing Spider-Man. And the Spider-Man we're seeing here seems more of a Peter Parker Spider-Man, whereas he had the mind of Doc Ock.
Spider-Man in this issue is still trying to, get situated with his surroundings, but the one thing I did not like about this issue was that I wish it would have started us off from the beginning. It seems like it's starting you off from the middle, maybe, as in where they show him Ultron already taking over the world, as if they could show him starting it and then such and such, because it just seemed a little out of place.
Yeah, I feel that this issue, there's a really big gap between Avengers 12.1
And Age of
this
Ultron
because
1.
12.1 was meant to introduce how Ultron came back, and that was the primary universe, but it actually
Yeah.
branched off into from Earth 616 to a different universe.
Yeah, I didn't like that. But, you know.
Alright, the next issue we're going to review is issue 160 of Avengers, which features the new Grim Reaper and Simon Williams in the Vision. Simon Williams, now, if you don't know who the Grim Reaper was, he was Eric Williams, Simon Williams' brother, who just decided to wreak havoc on the Avengers because they had supposedly killed his brother. Now, what happened was, when Wonder Man was brought back to life, the Vision had already had his Wonder Man's brain patterns programmed into him. So the two were had almost exactly the same personalities. Now, the Vision and Wonder Man were captured by the Grim Reaper along with the other Avengers. They all knocked unconscious and had these energy gauntlets placed around them that would explode if they didn't comply with this trial the Grim Reaper set up to see which one was his real brother. Now, he determined he could not reach a verdict during the trial because the Black Panther outwitted him and managed to deprogram the gauntlets with the help of Beast. But the cover is sort of misleading because the Grim Reaper says the verdict has been reached, one of you must die, whereas the Grim Reaper never actually reached a verdict. He just was confused and decided he was going to try to let them both live, but then Simon destroyed his reaping scythe on his left hand.
With covers back in those times, the 70s and early 80s, I would say I see an ongoing theme as if they were very misleading.
Yeah,
Anything to say about that?
I would agree. We've seen a lot of that in our reviews.
Yeah. Okay, so my next review is Ultron. It's a Age of Ultron tie-in, but it's a one-shot. It features about this kid. I don't remember what his first name is, but he's part of the Runaway team. And so they go back to, like, their base, and they're, like, the team's all together and talking, but Ultron goes back into his, like, room, and he has to plug in to get new data and stuff. But then one of the Runaway team members finds out, and she's very shocked, and she immediately wants to hurt him because she thinks she's one of those, as she says, one of those things, which is referring to, like, the Ultrons.
Yeah, I thought this issue was kind of weird because it left you, like, on a big gap.
Yeah, it left you hanging.
This kid says that he was in a relationship with this one girl who, we don't know what happened to her. All he has left is like a hologram of her he programmed. Was she a machine? Was she a person that was killed by Ultron? We don't know how he was created. We know he was created for Ultron. We don't know why he was created, how he was created, where these runaways came from, how they survived, how they were hidden. It's a really big gap in the Age of Ultron that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I feel they would have been better leaving it out or adding more detail.
Yeah, I feel like it shouldn't have been a one-shot. It should have been maybe a mini-series. I mean,
Yeah, 4 issue limit.
it kind of made me want to go and read Runaways. I mean, in the beginning, I'm not all that interested with that, but after reading this little one-shot, I want to know what happens or what this Vision is. I mean, kind of leaves you on a hanger there.
And this is just probably going to be a big lead up to the Age of AI, once you saw the ad in.
Yes, the Age
of
of
Dark Knights.
AI.
Which is supposed to be an ongoing series, but I
mean, considering the team features, I mean, the Vision, that looks maybe like Black Widow, Hawkeye, I'm not sure who that is, the new Doctor Doom, I'm not sure who these two are, and two other characters.
So it looks like this might be a fail-safe plan set up by Ultron. Okay, so
Yeah.
the final issue we'll be reviewing is Smoke and Mirrors, Part 2 of 3, issue 399 of Amazing Spider-Man. This issue was probably one of my personal favorites because it features Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider clone, and Peter Parker. And they go to the Jackal's laboratory, meeting several clones of Peter that have been genetically altered. And when they get there, they find multiple cells. One that contains a Jackal, a man in the Jackal costume, who claims to be the original Miles Warren. Claims. Now, I have not yet bothered to continue the series. From what I understand, he is actually a clone who is pretending to be the Jackal. But this issue was probably one of the strangest issues I own because when it ends with Jackal opening the wrong containment cell, not the original Peter Parker cell, which he says he has, but the cell containing the original Gwen Stacy, which I find is very odd considering